Hello, my name is Adriana Hurd. Today you will be hearing my wonderful and exciting journey towards my Master's of Arts of Education degree with a concentration in instructional technology. During my story, you will learn more about my triumphs, frustrations, and lessons I have acquired in my professional, personal, and academic journey. I will be talking about what I have learned in my ILT 5003 class and how I plan to implement what I have learned as a teacher in the future with my classroom. Enjoy. I plan to integrate technology in the classroom and use this as a tool to help special populations in public schools, including special education, dyslexic, and English language learners. As a believer and follower of Vygotsky's proximal development, I feel using many types of technology in the classroom will help students become engaged and independent thinkers. As a former English language learner, I struggle with help at a non-English speaking home to understand the homework given to me daily. Technology was my tool and lifesaver, assisted me in learning and figuring out translations for homework. There should many of our students are 21st century learners who are familiar with technology. My goal is to use this already acquired learned skill into their daily learning in the classroom and use the themes I learned in the course to help me understand what institution I'm working for, student population serving for, and how to serve them properly, understand more about their obstacles faced every day, and learn their different and appropriate learning approaches to their learning needs. One of the recurring themes learned in this course is our current public education system. Traditional public education began with direct teaching, where teachers would teach in front of the class and students would sit and listen to the teacher lecturing. Nowadays, education has transformed into students taking action into their own learning and teachers are facilitating. Despite these changes in the education system, there's still an education gap between whites and minorities in performance for standardized testing. As Lance and Billing explained, there's a social debt regarding this issue. People acknowledge there is an issue, but little has been done to close this achievement gap. How does this affect my professional journey? As a teacher who serves in a Title I school, I've witnessed many of my students struggle to meet the expectations of state standards. And it gives me an insight the disadvantages of many of my students face not only in the community but nationwide. What astonished me was the social debt. As an educator, I feel responsible for not creating enough advocacy for these students. And this model helped me realize that the educational gap exists, and as educators, we must create a solution to close this gap to help all types of students. I learned that the history of interdisciplinary and many subjects were interrelated with each other. The main disciplines were mathematics and physics, politics and aesthetics, and fine arts and engineering. I found interesting to learn that integration of subjects at one point were not common. Today, I see many disciplines interrelate with each other to increase knowledge in issues. I found this essential in my professional career because I teach such a diverse group of students. It's extremely helpful when disciplines integrate to solve or raise awareness in certain issues for the common good. Example, when disciplines such as special education, social studies, and technology are integrated, it provides opportunities to create meaningful and engaging lessons for students with different needs. Interdisciplinary is truly a chance to create a new world of learning. Another issue I've learned from this course was social oppression and how minority groups have been oppressed from access to equal education. One of the interesting insights was how the location of the schools, such as economic status, affected the quality of education the students received. In the reading from Annan, it was insightful to learn that students from low socioeconomic areas were most likely to receive strict and structured education than students from a higher socioeconomic area, where structure was more lenient. This parallels to what students are being prepared in the workforce. These examples from the author Annan demonstrate the unequal access of education all students receive. As Fair argues, it is our job as educators to create a critical pedagogy for our students and make them aware of the social injustices that exist around them. As an educator from a Title I school, I'm guilty of working and forcing an environment where structure is strict and organized for my students. After this, I realized it's important to create a social conscience and awareness for my students and to create a change in their status. My hope is to begin this change gradually in my classroom to break a small cycle. Education has provided many learning theories of what is appropriate to educate children. Many theorists believe there are many ways knowledge should be acquired. The three theories I learned are Pigot's cognitive learning theory, Skinner's behaviorism learning theory, and Vygotsky's social learning theory. each theories have affected the way education has developed in the past years. For example, Piaget emphasizes that a child learns through a development process and constructs their own knowledge. Then Skinner emphasizes learning is created through rewards and consequences. Lastly, Vygotsky emphasizes how learning is developed during social interaction with others, or the zone proximal development theory. These three theories are used throughout school's curriculum and pedagogy for students' learning and understanding in school and society. As a teacher, I've used these three theories towards my students in many lessons. And as instructional technology student, I'm a supporter of Vygotsky's learning theory, where technology can be used as a learning tool for students. Technology such as mobile devices and computers can help students learn and develop their knowledge further aside from traditional teaching methods. Aside from Vygotsky, Skinner, and Piaget's learning theories over the years, other theories have emerged and have been applied in education from K through 12 higher education institution. One of these theories was Laubenweger's situated learning theory. This theory emphasizes how students learn as the apprentice and observe the adult. Over time, the apprentice begins to take over the task and learns fully the content. As a teacher, this type of learning has been effective for students that are tactile and visual learners. As a teacher, I have observed that not all students, especially dyslexic, special education, English language learners, are auditory learners. As a result, many students struggle to learn the content. However, when students learn through observing others, such as modeling the learning, it becomes more engaged and students' confidence is built. Furthermore, proper constructionism has been a learning theory that has emerged over the years, where students are given lessons that require them to construct their knowledge, and the teacher facilitates their learning. As a teacher, I've observed that at the beginning it may be frustrating for students to understand this. I have particularly witnessed this frustration with gifted and talented students and higher level students who are accustomed to structures and rules. Once I guide them, the students slowly begin to understand how to solve the problem on their own. Because of the emotion behind constructing their knowledge, I witnessed that many students find this learning memorable and engaging at the end of the lesson. Lastly, one of the most overlooked learning theories is Knoll's adult learning. At times we may forget that adults need a certain type of structure or method to help them continue their learning in a successful way. One insightful information I've learned from this theory as a graduate student is it becomes easier to become more self-directed in learning than in a K-12 environment. Because there are more intrinsic motives such as graduation, it requires adults to become self-disciplined in their androgynous learning environment. Today's learners have required education to evolve their teaching methods that are appropriate and meaningful to all students. Whereas education was focused primarily on how knowledge was acquired, it is now important to meet the emotional needs of today's learners. One of the most important evolutions of education is the incorporation of technology in the classroom. Technology has rapidly grown into a device that is mobile and accessible for students. Today, many students have 21st century skills that use mobile technology and internet in their daily use. As teachers, it is important to incorporate these skills in the classroom to increase engagement. As a teacher, I have incorporated mobile devices in my classroom where the level of engagement for students is increased and memorable for them. In addition, students who are visual learners appreciate this type of learning. Furthermore, meeting the emotional needs of students is also essential as an educator. Many students face prejudices because of their sexual orientation and feel unsafe in their school environment. It is our job as educators to create tolerance and respect amongst each other. As teachers, we are not only responsible for the education of our students, but their social learning as well. As role models, we can promote behaviors based on our language and actions to others so students can replicate this with each other. As an educator and a friend of individuals who belong to the LGBTQ community, I emphasize the importance in my classroom of tolerance with each other and using caring words when addressing each other. Lastly, one of the most challenging yet rewarding experiences I have faced this year is being a collaborative teacher for special education students. It was interesting to read and learn about inclusion and how it works for special education students. As a collaborative teacher, one of the challenges I face is creating a balance of equal learning for all my students who have different learning levels. I have personally witnessed the rewards of inclusion teaching in the classroom. Many special education students have increased their confidence and social skills with the other students in the classroom. In addition, I have witnessed many of the other regular students have developed strong leadership and empathetic skills towards each other. As an educator, this has been one of the greatest rewards to witness. My plan of action is to become a better educator and advocate for my students. Before this class, I only understood certain aspects of education and had limited knowledge. Now I understand the realities of the education gap, learning theories, social injustices, especially among my students that I serve. My goal is to create a multicultural classroom environment. This includes creating a content that involves all types of cultural role models, a pedagogy that involves fierce problem-posing dialogue, where students can take action of their learning. And also, I would create an environment where I would develop a strong rapport with my students and student-centered learning. Moreover, I would incorporate a strong technology environment where mobile technology is more accessible. Lastly, I would emphasize the need of tolerance with each other. As a student, my journey throughout the program has been transforming. My thoughts on an educator, student, and person was naive and limited before. I always believed the education system was equal and fair to all types of people of different socioeconomic classes. Throughout my journey in the Masters of Education program, I have learned that it is further from the truth. As an advocate for fair education to all students, it is my duty to continue to inform myself of the continuing issues of education even after graduation, to continue to help underserved students such as the kiddos I teach with passion every day at my school.